Morning. So welcome to our second class of our new Yin Yoga series, The Power of the Mind. So last week, just to recap, we were just trying to be the observer. We were just trying to learn to look at what we have, look at what thoughts are in our minds, look at what emotions are colouring us, look at how we're physically feeling. And starting to detach from, when you're very much in a story, very much in the difficulty, the thought patterns or the emotional challenges that we all face. So I gave you, those of you who chose to take up the homework, so every week you get a little bit of homework this time around. It's all about doing. So I gave you the homework of just giving yourself 10 minutes or 5 minutes even, just to sit with yourself and observe your environment, observe your inner environment, so that we can start the process of being more conscious of those thoughts, more conscious of those emotions, more conscious of that physical sensations in our bodies on a more continuous basis. So that when we're interacting with people, we're conscious of how our mind is becoming populated either with other stuff, or we're maybe getting triggered, a cascade of thoughts which lead us to an emotional reaction, which leads us to honk that horn or shout at that person or get really upset. It's a long process, and some people just suddenly awaken and see everything clearly, see themselves separate from these small stories that we're living in, these challenges that when we're in them and we become them, they become everything. They feel too much. But when we start to get the space, little by little, the reactions that are commonplace to us, there's a bit more space for us to stop ourselves from reacting in the way that we always have done. So what we're trying to lead on from last week, we're just building layers in this course. We're not trying to delve into any more theory than what we did in the last class, but we're trying to put things in practice. And this week is all about meditation and accessing that higher mind that we talked about last time. So recap, the higher mind is the abstract mind. It's the mind that gives us that intuitive power of knowingness. Like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, or I know I should be doing this. Even on a very small level of going to the shops and going, my body really needs carrots today. I need to eat carrots. But what do we go and do? We go and buy the chocolates or the sweet things or the things that actually our body doesn't need. But if we listen to that higher mind, that voice of conscience, that intuitive power, we always know, from the simple level to just basically what am I eating today, up to what am I doing with my entire life, what am I doing in this moment. And accessing that power, which in your first diagram on the handout, the diagram we had last week as well, the higher mind relates to our soul. It's this heart in the center of our diagram. And what we're trying to do is create a channel between our soul, our higher mind, and our personality, which is our mental, emotional and physical body. And creating that channel does require work, which is where the meditation comes in. And meditation is something that for most of us we kind of go, oh, it's like boring, it's like something really unsexy, or it's just the dog work, it's the cleaning the kitchen every day, like, oh God, I've cleaned this kitchen again, I'm here like cleaning the kitchen. And it's the same with meditation. Meditation is a form of cleaning, it's an inner cleaning work, but it doesn't have to be very long. So start with the last week practice of just observing, and then build up to just finding 10 minutes, ideally in the morning. That's the exercise this week on the back of your handouts. It's just finding 10 minutes to sit with yourself and becoming the observer initially, and then starting to observe these three main centers of our body, which are mental, emotional, physical body acting through our ability to connect to the earth, the ability to, recognize that we are physical, we do have our limitations, we do have emotional reactions, we do have crazy thoughts. And then our center of our heart, helping us to deepen our connection to our soul, our higher purpose. And then our third center, our head center, which connects us to spirit, to that infinite inspiration that is completely undefined, but that gives us that energy, that gives us that life. And if you look at the final diagram on the handout on the back, I'm working with a graphic designer at the moment. This image isn't quite finished, but I'm getting a number of the core things I talk about to be kind of made a bit more attractive. But this person is illustrating what meditation is. So this person, their head illustrates the mental realm, the realm of being able to think, be able to create thoughts. But through meditation, we're striving to clear the clouds of thoughts. And then in the heart center, where her heart is, this is our emotional, astral realm, where meditation helps to clear and allow the flow of emotions. And then even on the physical plane, meditation helps to clear the etheric detritus that creates physical dis-ease. I mean, we can't get away from the fact we still have to do stuff to alleviate and help our physical bodies from suffering from any form of disease or disease, however you want to relate to it. But we are aiming through our whole meditation process to become like this woman, to become like a tree, fully rooted in our earthly nature, in our physicality, but completely connected to the emotional, to see clearly through those crazy thoughts, to be able to make thoughts, and then to expand up to infinity, to open up to all that is, instead of living in these little boxes that stop us from seeing all the opportunities. So obviously, for some of you, daily meditation for years and years is not necessarily how enlightenment might happen. For many, for a few number of people, they just wake up one day and they see everything. But for most of us, we have to just chip away. So with our practice today on the mat, we're going to be building on that observation through our physical poses. We're going to try and bring in some principles of meditation so that little and often we might just get a glimpse of that clear channel, that clarity. But even if you're just touching at it, little by little, it starts to become clearer and brighter, and things can be more easily seen in your daily life. So, if you'd like to get ready, we will begin our physical practice. We're going to start seated today. So you can use your bolster or you can use your blocks. You can kneel or have your legs crossed or even open out to the sides. Whatever feels kind of good. And just close your eyes and just move your body in any way that your body needs to be moved. Take a big inhale, exhale through the mouth, and arrive. Just entering a practice of meditation, it is quite hard just to sit down and start. So allow a bit of movement, Move your neck, move your head, move your arms, move your hands. With your eyes closed, if you're in this group environment, you don't have to worry about what anyone else is doing, because their body feels very different to your body. Your body is unique. You may have tightness in your chest or your shoulders. Listen to what your physical body needs, and you can maybe move, you can twist, you can arch, you can curve. Lifting your head, dropping your head. And then when you're ready, come to sitting. So our usual meditative position is a long spine. So imagine that your spine is rooting down into the earth, tucking your tailbone under slightly so there's no arching in your lower back. So your tailbone draws downwards. Imagine that those roots are spreading down beneath you. Your arms, your palms are on your lap with the palms face down, just to connect yourself downwards and into this amazing physical body that you have. And then as you look up through the spine, from the base of the spine, imagine the spine is growing up just like that strong trunk of that tree, up through the spinal column, up through the neck, up through the crown. And then as you get upwards, draw your shoulder blades up and back, opening your heart. Turn your palms up and see the change in feeling as you almost feel your heart expanding, your shoulders drawing back, your heart exposed. Take a big inhale, exhale through your nose, out through your mouth, and then upwards through the neck, up through the crown, as the branches reach up through the head and up into the infinite. And this tree doesn't just grow up to the light, upwards, it grows outwards to make connection with others. So imagine your branches of your tree, really reaching outwards and upwards, but you can only reach out to others. You can only receive more light if your roots are growing deeper. Your ability for intuitive capacity for receiving insight is only as strong as your roots are deep. So exhale down the trunk of your tree and really nourish those roots. Allow the roots to grow deeper so that they can in turn nourish you. Visualize yourself this strong tree, rooting into the earth, the center of the earth beneath you. See if you can reach the deepest nourishment within this earth. Almost symbolic in the core of the earth's ultimate potential. And as your roots grow deeper, inhale and draw that nourishment up the trunk and grow your branches out. Connect to other like souls. Souls that are walking the same path as you, but maybe in very disparate parts of the world. Connecting to people in your community on a deeper level than just on what they look like, what they do, what they've done, what they might do, what the story you think about them, to that true part of themselves that is beyond liking. It is only filled with love. And then as you gaze inwards and upwards to your third eye, starting to activate that Ajna center, which is one of our 3 seats of our soul, that connects us to our ability to see the truth. See the world for real, beyond the illusion of the story, of the repetitive thoughts, of the fixed beliefs, of the crazy emotions, or the suppressed emotions. And in your own way, watching your breath, and on your inhale, drinking up from those roots and expanding up through those branches, and on your exhale, bringing your awareness back down into those roots, growing them deeper. Use your breath. Whenever the mind wanders, don't give out to yourself. Just come back to your breath, to your visualization. And then focusing back down to your roots. How much can you connect to your earthly aspect? Can you visualize those roots? Can you maybe scan your physical body too? Can you feel what it's like to be in this physical vehicle? Can you observe your emotions? Can you be witness to your thoughts? And can you accept and forgive? And then bringing your inner gaze to your heart. Breathe into that heart space and feel your heart expanding. How easily can you connect to this heart space? This place where we feel what's right for us. Where we love, where we forgive, where we can be compassionate to all human beings, to all animals, to all life forms on this planet. Feeling that web that we're part of as you, from your heart, connect to all the other hearts on this world. Part of this web, these ecosystems, spiritual and physical communities. And then up to your head center, gazing upwards. How readily and how easily can you open that crown and feel an abundance of light drawing down as you aspire upwards? Can you feel that infinite nature? That life, that light. And let it pour down and within, allowing that light to illuminate every atom. You almost need to breathe in deeper to fill every space with that light. And maybe you find that hard, and that's okay too. Just observe, where's your natural place that you connect to? Is it your roots? Is it your heart? Is it your head? And just in your mind's eye, turning to the center that you find the hardest to connect to. And just spend another minute here. Watching the breath whenever you get distracted. See the thoughts for what the thoughts are. Know yourself the thinker, not the thoughts. Feel yourself the rock, not the flow of emotions. Find yourself rooted, accepting your place in this physical body at this time. And then drawing in from the crown, drawing up from the roots, taking that all into your heart as you bring your hands together at heart center. in like a prayer gesture, Anjali Mudra. The symbol of balance between left and right, past and future. Finding yourself present in this moment, in your heart, in the place of peace. Feeling your breath against the edge of your thumbs. And accepting yourself just as you are right now in this moment. Setting your intention for this practice and for the rest of your day. Not the things that you want to do, but what quality do you want to do them with? How do you want to live your day today? What quality do you want to invoke? Do you want more peace? Do you want more joy? Do you want more laughter? Or do you want more drama? Because then that's good to talk about, isn't it, at the pub later? Yeah? Depends what we want to invoke. And then we'll draw that in. And with all your intention, draw that intention, that phrase, that word even, into your mind's eye. And that's the dedication for our whole practice today. So we release our hands and just bring our soles of our feet together. You might want to stretch your legs, rotate your ankles before bringing the soles of the feet together. So the feet are a good foot and a half away from your groin. You can stay up on the bolster if you have tight hips. Or if it's easier, you can slip off your bolster before folding down. And just have a little wriggle in this, what's known as butterfly pose. Just maybe circling your shoulders, your spine. And again, we come back to our practice from last week, the observation. Where are you stiff? Where are you feeling the tension? Let's all come into a little cat-cow. Inhale, draw the chest through. Exhale, rounding. Close your eyes when you know the flow. Use your breath. Maybe you feel this deep down in your sits bones. Maybe you feel it in your hips. Maybe it's your lower back, or maybe it's your shoulders. But through the movement, work out where it is that you need to release that tension from. Nice. And then when you feel comfortable, just come down to bow your head. You can use a block or a bolster either to rest your forehead on, or a bolster or a block to rest your elbows on, to put your hands in your balm your eyes with your palms. Whatever feels kind of good for you. You don't want to take too much. You don't want it to feel like you're going into pain before you've even started. And if it's too much for the hips, then we need to grab 2 bolsters either side of our knees. And maybe sit on a little block instead, if we're sitting on the bolster. Perfect. The soles of the feet making that same symbol that when we had the Anjali Mudra. It's creating like an energy circuit. Balancing left and right. And this is a symmetrical pose. So try to make wherever your hands are symmetrical. Whatever they are doing. Relaxing your shoulders, your fingers, your face. And try to soften. Try to allow. Try to expand. Without doing, but with a simple allowingness. Use your breath, the exhale, to soften. And this is a very grounding pose. So maybe you can come to that visualization of those roots. You observe what's going on in your lower body. And even if you've just got your hands either side and just supporting yourself leaning forwards, it's just a little lean forwards, that's fine as well. With your head dropped, whichever pose you've picked, you don't have to be licking your toes. That's not where we're going with this. And with each exhale, more space is made by simple letting go. We need to let go of that chatter, let go of the baggage, so that we can see more clearly. We don't have to name everything, we don't have to identify what everything is. We just have to let it go, make the space. And then maybe things change. Maybe you can walk your hands further forward. Maybe you can lean into this a little more deeply. Equally, maybe not. Watch yourself. Don't take things too far too quickly. Watch your patterns. Are you a natural overachiever, or do you naturally shy away from challenges? Last 5 breaths here. Rooting with that exhale, clearing, making space. Inhale, drawing up nourishment. Last 2 breaths. Maybe exhale through the mouth. And then as you walk up, see how things have changed gently. Moving away any props to the side, extending our legs out to the front. And again, rotating those ankles. And the other way. Just awareness of those toes, those feet. Draw the toes back to you, push the heels away from you. Point the toes, draw the toes back. Spread the toes. Bring our awareness right down into the tips of the toes. That's still us there, we're still existing there. Mostly we're up here, so can we bring our awareness down there? And any other movements? And then swinging your knees beside you, coming onto hands and knees. Hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And just taking those cat-cows, so exhaling round in the spine. Really push through those palms, push through those knees. Arch into the fullness of your spine. And then drop your belly, lift your chest. Close your eyes, gaze inwards and upwards. And again, you know, your spinal column is the most essential part of your nervous system. Gives you life. Our spinal health on a purely physical basis is so essential. With your exhale, let go of those burdens, physically, emotionally, mentally, that you're carrying around in those 3 different layers. And then taking circles with the body, taking the circle body around the hands, or maybe you visualize your bum going around your knees. The 2 things are happening simultaneously. Just see how your body feels, and then reversing the movement. See how the hips feel. See how the shoulders feel. And then figures of 8. And if figures of 8 don't come naturally, just do whatever feels right. And if you're figure of 8ing, reverse the figure of 8. It's good to be alive. Tucking the toes, coming into a little down dog. So your hands and your feet in theory are roughly where they were when you were in hands and knees. And then just pedal the heels. Feel the pushing of the heel back towards the mat, stretching one leg and then the other leg. How are our legs feeling? Can you bring some focal attention down into your calves, down into your ankles, to your knees, to your thighs? You know, this part of our body which is symbolic of our lower nature, that which roots us. Walking the feet towards the hands towards the feet. Coming into a dangle. With the feet maybe just under the width of the mat. Bending slightly in the knees. Your hands can remain on the ground or on a block if we have lots of tension. Otherwise our hands are into our crooks of our elbows and we're simply dangling. You don't have to touch the floor here. You're visualizing that your belly is coming flat to your thighs, and to do that you may need a nice bend in your knees. And with your exhale, you're fully letting go, shaking that head. What do you observe in your body today? Are you saturated with some form of emotion, whether it's worry or anger? Are you feeling quite good today? But maybe you didn't notice that physically you've got a little bit of tension in your lower back. Maybe you're very distracted, maybe you're planning. Are you in the past or are you in the future? Can you be here, right now? When the stretch becomes too much, we just grab our block. Gives us a little bit of slack. Or our hands come down onto the mat, depending on where we are at. Whichever pose we're in, our head is fully relaxed. Our shoulders are relaxed. Taking a nice deep inhale and a nice full exhale. Last 3 to 5 breaths here, depending on your breath cycle. Breathing up through the feet, the legs, and breathing back down. Letting go of anything, any fear that's holding you back. And that fear emotionally can then start a cascade of fearful thoughts.
Equally, the fearful thoughts can also create the fear inside ourselves. Last one, inhale and exhale through the mouth. Bend your knees, come into a little squat. So you might need to widen your feet side to wide of width of the mat. You can move side to side. So just bringing the weight from one foot to the other foot. You don't have to be as wide as I am. I've obviously got something in the way. And then you can use your 2 blocks or a bolster, or your 2 blocks on your bolster to come and sit on. Or if you're comfortable in an Indian squat, you can be here without anything to sit on. Sometimes it's nice to sit on something. And your heart draws through. And your knees are opening up to the side. Closing your eyes, trying to bring your heart through, breathing into those hips. Perfect. Closing those eyes. Even if the heels don't come down onto the ground, still see if you can find a way that you can root through your feet into the ground. See if the feet do come down to the ground, find your feet open and flat to the ground. It's really good for our whole digestive system here. Our ability to process, our ability to take what we need from life and let go of what we don't. With your exhale, letting go of all that you're hanging on to, all that you really don't need to carry around anymore. Old relationships, old experiences that still taint you now. Old pain, old suffering, old difficult times. We don't need any of that. That just colours us. It just stops us from seeing the whole picture. It prevents that clear channel from forming. When the only place we need to be is here in this moment right now. Come back to your heart. Come back to your centre. One more minute here, so if this pose is getting too challenging, take a rest and then come back in. Otherwise, just keep watching your breath, breathing into your heart, finding some peace, finding some space. Breathing into the hips, any tension you might be feeling in your hips, or maybe it's your chest. Trying to allow that heart to expand as opposed to contract, that heart to reach out as opposed to stay in. Last 3 or 5 breaths. Keeping rooted through those feet, feeling connected to that heart, feeling open to all forms of inspiration. Visualizing that channel forming. Last one. Take a big inhale, open the chest and exhale through the mouth. Well done. Bring your hands to the ground. Coming back into our dangle. This time I'm going to turn to the long face of our the long way of our mat. So you're turned sideways. You have to turn 90 degrees effectively. Opening your feet a bit wider, and your toes turn in slightly. And then again, you can use a block, but you might be okay here. It depends whether you need a block. But just going to do a few twists before we go into a hold. So placing your left hand down, right arm reaches up. And then exhale back, forwards, take a little fold. Right hand pushes down, left arm reaches up. Exhale down. Inhale, right arm up. And all the time you're keeping rooted through your legs. And on your inhale, you're expanding through your heart, opening that chest. Exhale. Nice. Another 3 more either side in your own flow. With or without that block, your choice. Your body, your life. Last one either side. And coming back to center. So our dangle here, we can walk our hands underneath our body. We can make a pile of blocks, so some of us, our heads might rest on a block. For others of us, we will just need to rest our hands on the blocks or on the floor. It's not just about flexibility, it has something to do also with the length of your legs and the length of your arms, so don't get hung up on it. Some of you are like orangutans, and some of you are like T-Rexes, you know? It changes things. So find your place. If your head is rested on a block, you might like to place your hands, the backs of your hands on the floor, with your palms facing up. Your toes are subtly turned in, known as pigeon-toed. But your weight in either position is shifting slightly onto the balls of the feet. And your head is relaxed. Breathing again down those legs. Creating that link, that connection to your physicality, your earthly nature. Letting all of the head stuff fall out of the head. We don't want any of it. We don't want to take any of it with us. Yes, we can have lots and lots of thoughts. But do we have to get caught up in them? No, in meditation, we're never going to get rid of all thoughts. That's not what we're striving to do. We're striving to stay separate from them. Not abolish them. Over time, the types of thoughts will change. Whether we have a tendency towards negative thinking, fearful thinking, angry thinking. With more observation, with more understanding of ourselves, that changes, that quality of mind. But still the thoughts come. Still we think, oh, he's been a bit of a douche today, isn't he? Yeah? But his soul isn't, it's just his ego, his personality is. Last 5 breaths here, you're doing really well. Imagine your sit bones are drawing up to the sky. Nice big breath, inhale and exhale. So if you walk your feet to one edge of your mat and fold over the front edge, so your feet are standing on the back side of the mat, or your new back side of the mat, yeah, and you folded it over the long side of the mat at the front, yeah. Bend your knees as much as you can to draw them down. We're coming to a kind of frog-like position. So your knees are on that double fold, And your feet are turned out, like you kind of got a frog. Now we're all different here, so there are a few different variations. For some of us, we'll just simply sit down so that the knees are working their way apart, and it's like our bum is trying to sit down in between. So we're going in for a full splits. This pose feels really nice, doesn't it? Yeah? Yeah, okay. That's what I'm going for. I'm going for the pose where we'd rather we weren't doing this pose. Can we go back to just doing forward fold now? I thought I didn't like forward folds, but now I'm in frog, I'm not so sure. Let's go back. Jesus. And then you take your blocks or your bolsters, and you can place your chest on your blocks or your bolsters. Or you can rest on your elbows if that's still too high for you, or put your forehead on your blocks. Or use your blocks and your bolsters to bring your chest onto. Or if you just want to kind of be rigid in your own suffering, that's fine as well. It's your choice. Like, do you see what's going on in your physical body? You get into a difficult place and you suddenly go, oh, yeah, you tense. You're like, this is awful, yeah? So find a way to like, really enjoying this awful situation. Yeah, take a nice big breath. Find a way of supporting your head if your head is not supported. And then see where you're tensing. Is it your inner thighs? Is it your bum? Are you just desperate to get out of this, that you can't even watch your breath? Yeah? Can you come and try and watch your breath? Even if it's just for a second before the mind goes, I'm going to die, yeah? I can't do this anymore. I'm going to leave. I just want a coffee and a cake. Why did I even come here? You're lucky, I don't do frog very often, but I thought it was a special day today. And some people actually like frog. Yeah.
The frogs.
They're obviously weird.
The frogs like frog.
Yeah, and frogs would like frog. So we're just going to be here for another 20 minutes. Yeah. It's not eternity. So again, you can either watch your breath, you can find some peace. You can work with softening and not resisting, or you can tense and just be in your own suffering. Can you find the meditative place even in times of difficulty, in challenges? Nice. Last half a minute. See if you can soften now that you know there is an ending. See if you can just let go. Sometimes we have to take ourselves into uncomfortable places to actually achieve what we want to achieve in life. And I'm not talking about ego achievement, I'm talking about soul purpose achievement. You know, we have to leave ourselves open for criticism. We have to go against the flow of what our friends and family expect of us. Even when we become happier, some people get really annoyed at that, you know. How can you be happy? You're never happy. Last breath here. Sweetly smile. Away your frog as you lift your head. So to be gentle with ourselves to get out of this, the best way is to bring your weight into your hands and then bring your toes together. And if you bring your toes together, you then kind of come into a child's, kind of wide child position. And let's actually take ourselves into a hands and knees position, just to move our hips, unroll that mat again. You can move the lengthways of your mat again if you like. And just take some circling action with your hips. Let's see that our inner thighs are still functioning as we extend our right leg out behind us. And it still connects to our ankle, we wiggle our ankle. It still connects to our toes, we wiggle our toes. And we reverse the movement, bringing the knee back down. Left leg extends, our left inner thigh is still functioning, we still connect down to our ankle. See, everything's still just there as it was before. Inhale and then release, exhale. Take a few cat-cows, exhaling and inhaling. Exhaling, inhaling. One more. I feel after that we definitely need to get into our hips. So we're going to bring our right knee forwards, foreleg across. Bring our left leg back a little bit, with the toe pointing back. You can grab a block and pop it underneath your hip, your right hip, or two, depending on what's going on in your hips. The angle of this foreleg depends upon your hip flexibility. You can draw it inwards to give yourself a little bit more slack, and you can bring the foreleg up to take a little bit more, or somewhere in between if you are a normal human being. Inhale, draw the shoulders back, open the heart, and then walking yourself down. So you can simply rest your head on a block or on a pillow of your hands. And just adjust yourself so that you can be relatively comfortable here without clenching your fist, your jaw, your shoulders. Some of you are going to be over comfortable here, and for those of you who are over comfortable and want a greater challenge, you can take your right arm through the gap of your left arm as your left arm extends forwards. But if you've got enough, just stay where you are. See if you can soften your lower back, your bottom. Relaxing your shoulders, your face. Getting deeper into those hips. That point of storage of old emotions. Relates us to our sacral center, which connects us very much to the emotional astral world realm. So we want to let go with that exhale. Clearing away all the ties of old relationships that are no longer serving us. Friendships, intimate partnerships, relationships at work, letting them all go. That you don't need now, you've changed. You're in a different place. Nice. Use the breath as you need. Come to bring your awareness to where the tension is being felt, and that's where you bring the work, you bring the application of your mind, your lower mind. That's where you're directing, you're creating the thoughts of clearance, of space, of peace, of love, of joy, or whatever your intention was. And I doubt anyone intention was to create more stress in their life or more stress in their body through this practice or through our daily life, although I could be wrong. And with the exhale, soften. It's almost like you're striving to melt into this mat. Last 3 breaths. Last 1. And walking our hands up, moving the block away, weight into your hands, draw your left knee forwards to again extend your right leg back. Take hip circles, the other way, and shake the leg and replace back down. Any movement feels good. Note the difference between the 2 legs, the 2 hips. Sensations you may be feeling in your right toes, your right ankle, your right hip. Before then, bringing the left knee forwards, the foreleg across the mat, drawing your right knee back a little bit, using your block underneath your hip. Or a block on the mat for your head. Or a pillow of your hands. And again, try and find a place that you can relax in. If you want to take this further, your left arm can come through the needle of your right arm reaching forwards. But if you have enough, just stay with what you got. Nice breaths into wherever you're feeling the tension. Allow your hips to soften with each exhale, visualizing that melting into the mat. Letting go of stresses, of worries, of old rubbish. You know, some of us are very good at cleaning our houses and making sure that rubbish is always put out. But how good are we at dealing with our own rubbish, our own garbage? You know, some of it doesn't even need to be recycled. It just needs to be incinerated or allowed to be reabsorbed into the earth for reprocessing, for reconversion to something new. We don't want to keep living our lives convincing ourselves that we've, worked through something when actually we've still left a residual. We feel sometimes we've done work through some stuff. We get times of lightness, of clarity, and then we go back into it again and we're like, oh no, not this again, this pattern, this old pattern. And that's where giving this space, this time, every day, to see what's coming up, to go, okay, it's not coming back, it's just going at a deeper level. I'm going to the deeper level of my conditioning, of my pattern, of my fixed belief that I'm trying to move on from. We're always going up these spiral staircases into dark, into light, into dark, into light. But that requires work. Otherwise we get kind of stuck on the staircase, either in the dark or in the light, but neither moving forwards nor moving back. Nice full breaths here. See if you can melt, surrender a little more into your mat here. See if you can just allow yourself to be your awesomeness that you are within. Shine your light, to show your joy, to be that love in every moment. Even when someone puts you in a frog's pose and you're like, oh my God. Yeah. We all have those certain poses in life that put us in a challenging mental situation. I think for me it's children in general. That's why I have to have 3 of them. Yeah, got some learning. When your 2-year-old grabs the sharp knife, no, we don't have sharp knives. No, I'm wearing sharp knives. No, we don't. Don't go with sharp knives. And before you know it, you're having an argument with a 2-year-old over a sharp knife. And you can see your story all over the Southern Star. Last 5 to 3 breaths, depending on our breath cycle. Breathing fully, letting go fully. Last one. And walking our hands up and drawing your weight into your hands, bring your right knee forwards, extend your left leg back. Give it a shake and take those hip circles now on your left side. Oh yeah, there's your hip. And backwards. And release back down. So we all have triggers. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. We just have to become more conscious of them. And they will happen over and over and over and over again. But every time we might be able to get a little bit of space before the reaction happens. And then eventually we can actually choose whether we react or not. Keeping your hips where they are, we're going to walk the hands out in front of us, drawing our chest down towards the mat. So depending on our spine, you may want to bring some blocks under your chest to bring your chest onto. You may have your forehead on your mat with your palms down, or you may have a single block under your forehead. Or you may have the spinal flexibility to bring your chest and your chin on the ground. But whatever works for your spine. Your focus is on your shoulder blades drawing back and down and open. Your bum is staying directly above your knees. And just breathing into the center of your heart. Feeling that heart space expanding. It's called the melting heart pose, Anahata Asana. It's really working on the back of that center of Anahata, where we receive love, we receive that impulse, that connection. Some of us are big givers, but not so good as receivers. Being conscious if that's you. Can you soften? Someone offers you some help. Can you say thank you and accept? Now we're not going to stay here too long. It's quite a strong pose for our spine. So another half a minute. If it's too strong already, sit back into child. Your arms are striving to be parallel and reaching out straight in front of you. But it doesn't matter if there's a bend there to start with. Last one breath. Take a big inhale, sigh on the exhale. And then gently walking those hands up underneath your shoulders again. Taking either a cat-cow, taking your figures of 8 or your spontaneous circular movement. Or maybe simply making horseshoe shapes with your spine, looking to your left bum and your right bum. And come back to center. See how you feel. Feel your weight even between your hands and your knees. Close your eyes. Watch your breath. Where did you go? Can you come back to this moment right here, right now? It's coming down onto your elbows, your forearms, your hands. Your hands can clasp. Yeah, that's probably the best way. We're going to place our forehead on the mat and we're going to support the back of our heads with this little nest of our hands. Yeah. So coming onto the top of your head a little bit, we're going to lift up our bums. We're going to do it in a movement. We're going to do 5 times. So you push through your elbows so that most of your weight is not on your head, it's your elbows. So you just lift your bum up so you're on your toes. Lifting up, inhale. Exhale, knees back down. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, bum up. Exhale, knees down. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. Last one. And back down. This time we're going to keep our head on the ground but reach our hands back to our legs or our ankles. Rolling as high onto the top of our head as we can. Some of us will have to hold on to our calves, particularly if we have a baby or we have a bit of spinal tension. Some of you may be able to hold your ankles. And in this position, Just breathing through the neck, the spine. Your eye gaze is inwards and upwards. Just half a minute more. Nice breath. Last one. And then relief. Bringing your hands either side of your head. Coming into child, either wide-legged child or with your knees together. Your hands either underneath your head or with your hands beside you. Just breathing into your head center, your third eye. Either resting your head on your hands or with your forehead resting on the ground with your arms alongside your body. Behind you. With each exhale, softening, allow the sits bones to sit back a little more. Feel safe and secure. Just a minute here. And just notice the difference in your internal environment between this pose and some of the other poses. See how easy it is in this pose to restore a sense of peace, security, safety. Bring that in. And then gently walking your hands forwards, push yourself up. Gently. Coming onto your bums, coming to sit round to the front. Make sure you have all your props accessible to your hands. You might want one block underneath your bum, just with a loose crossing or your legs extended. Before we lie down, we're just going to do one heart opening practice. So we're just going to open our arms up, breathing into the palms of our hands. Exhale, rounding in, imagining that you're giving someone a big hug. Inhale, opening, expand, draw your chest through. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now the next time we do it, we're going to think about which is our right hand. Inhale. Right hand is now going underneath our left arm. Right hand underneath. Wrap them around and see if you can bring your palms together. If you can't, just bring the arms back to back. Yeah, hook some fingers or just try and bring them back to back. Lifting the elbows up so that they're as high up as feels okay. Palms to palm if that works for you. And just take 5 deep breaths into the back of your shoulder blades. Eye gaze inwards and upwards. Last one. Release, inhale. Chest through. Left hand, which is your left hand? Left hand goes underneath, wrapping them round. Palm to palm or hands back to back. Our arms are very different, our shoulders are very different on either side. Lifting the elbows up, feeling the stretch across our shoulders into our heart, breathing 5 long breaths. Our gaze is inwards and upwards. Last one. And releasing. Inhale, open. One last hug. Exhale. Hugging around yourself. Hugging around a friend. Hugging around the world. And release. So we're going to come onto our backs. Of course, put your socks on if you choose now. You have an option to take a block or a bolster and just place it down behind you so that when you come down onto your back, so you have that bolster. The bolster is either lengthways or the block is either portrait, or if you have a smaller block you can use that as well. Supporting yourself down onto that block or that bolster. Just to continue the yin stretch at the same centre. Soles of the feet can be together, a good foot, foot and a half away from your groin. Your arms are out to the sides. And just adjust yourself so that any prop that you're using feels comfortable. Sometimes if the block or the bolster is too low, it can cause a bit of a lower back issue. So make sure it's a little bit higher if you're feeling it. If it's too strong, bend your knees and bring the soles of the feet on the ground. If you're feeling it in your lower back. Your palms are open. Your gaze is inwards and upwards. You have the option of adding an extra eye pillow here. As you bring your awareness through those 3 centers again, through your hips, your legs, down through your feet, into your toes, into the earth. Breathing down with your exhale, rooting yourself once again. Feeling that connection with your divine earthly nature. And then bringing your breath and your awareness into your heart. As you lie there with your arms expanded to the side with your palms, breathing into that heart and out to the palms. And exhale to yourself. Love out, love in. Connection, empathy, compassion out. Compassion, empathy, love within. Working with that visualization. And then upwards to your third eye, up and out through the crown, expanding into the infinite. Branches reaching up towards the light and out towards others to make connections. Your head, your heart, your core. As you breathe back down, you can extend your legs if you want to. allowing the legs to be out to the sides. You can roll off your block or bolster coming just onto the mat, or you can stay here with the block or bolster for relaxation if you like that subtle heart awareness. Otherwise, we're just going to let our body be in whichever position on the floor is best for us. Into your heart, to your third eye, up into the infinite, down through the head to the heart, out into the world through the branches, through the arms of your tree, through your arms and palms and hands, and down through the trunk of your tree, through the roots of your legs and into the earth, and back up again. Your whole body spans all this. Connection to your physical, to what you sense, to what you experience emotionally, to what your desires, to your thoughts and your mind. Breathing fully up to your head center as those upper branches reach up towards the light, as they receiving whatever you need to receive this morning. And as you set that intention of receiving, let go and surrender. Toes, soles of the feet, ankles and legs, all fears and worries. Then go softening the hips and the pelvis. All old emotions, softening our abdomen, letting go of guilt. And the sides soften, the edges soften, the belly relaxes. As anger dissipates, old or new. As we soften our chest and our heart expands. As all sadness and grief is converted into love. Softening our shoulders as the burdens fall away. As the arms become free to give, to heal. And the throat becomes soft as we're able to speak clearly. As our ears open and we're able to hear fully. Our tongue relaxes as we know when to remain silent. As our nose softens, as we understand our highest and deepest desires. as we experience what's good in life, as our eyes soften and open within to see the bigger picture, and our crown and brain softens to see through the clouds, to become the whole picture, to be both the picture and the observer of the picture. And on the back of the breath, bringing your awareness to it, watching how it feels to be breathed. Feeling how it feels to breathe. Feeling deeper than the physical nature of breathing, and feel into the etheric pranianic component of breathing. Feel the energy that you receive through breathing. Breathe a little more fully and enjoy the breath. Something you do so automatically. I mean, thank God you do it automatically, otherwise you'd forget to do it. Because most of us are so busy thinking about stuff. Being thankful for the breath, being thankful for the body. The senses, to taste, to smell, to touch, to feel, to hear. And expanding into those senses, feel the taste, feel the smell, hear the sound, see lights within the closed eyes. It's an amazing vehicle, an amazing apparatus. Feeling down to your toes, You can give them a little wiggle. Grateful to have toes and feet and legs. Wiggling your fingers. Grateful for fingers and hands and arms. Have a little stretch through those arms, those legs. Bring your palms together and give them a good rub. Make them warm, or as warm as you can. And then placing your hands on your eyes to knock off your eye pillows, balming your eyes. Watching the colours that change with your hands on your eyes. And then just rubbing from the insides of your eyebrows to the outsides of your eyebrows. Massaging your temples. And massaging the crown of your head. Anywhere on that scalp that feels that it needs a little more attention, spend a few more seconds there. Wherever you feel that soreness, your body tells you, if you listen, where you need to rub, where you need to touch, what you need to do. We just need to make that space to listen, to hear, to see. And then down to the jaw, massage your jaw, get really in there. All those unexpressed angry words, let's just drop them. I don't need to say that actually. Into your cheeks. Give yourself a bit of a trout face. Yeah. And then a few sweeps of your face. And have a big stretch, a big yawn. And then roll yourself onto your left hand side. Give yourself a big cooch on your left hand side, a big hug. And then when you're ready, but without looking around too much, come to sit up. And we're going to end as we started, in a seated position on a block or a bolster, with your eyes closed, just taking any movement that your body needs. Setting your intention again. What do you want to bring to your day today? What quality? Your choice. You can have palms up on your knees if you want to receive inspiration today. If you want to ground yourself, reconnect yourself to the earth, to your physical, and turn your palms down. And if you want to bring your awareness to your heart, you can bring your left hand and your right hand onto your heart. If you want to invoke that quality of love and compassion and forgiveness or connection to your soul. And whichever one you've opted for, your gaze is inwards and upwards with your eyes closed. And you set that word, that quality, that intention, and you project that intention through this day. And we seal our practice with a single Om, taking an inhale and exhale, and inhaling for Om. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today. Thanks very much everyone. Have a lovely day. So no class next week, but back the following week.